What's up, everybody? Celtic Scarecrow here, back on the video to get those 10s and 20 views. Today is the first Tuesday of the month. It's time for my anime slash cartoon of the month. I was going to do a cartoon, but due to actual some issues on the out in the real world, I never got around to rewatching. So I went to the well and picked an anime that I know and love, but I keep butchering because this is like take 6 or 7 just to do this one anime. But this anime is a great intro anime to people who don't really watch anime. It plays up to all the standard anime tropes. It is a school anime. It is a harem anime. And it is a mech suit anime. I know I just butchered that last one. But yeah, this anime is Infinite Stratos. Infinite Stratos is based off a light novel that started May 25th, 2009. It had 2 seasons, one from January 2011 to April 2011, with one OVA made in December, which is kind of weird. Which is pretty much like a bonus episode that kind of does fall into the plot. Season 2 starting in October 2013 and ending 2013 with its own 2 OVAs involved to it. Yeah, pretty much the plot of the show is there's 6 main characters and 2 super important supporting characters. The 2 supporting characters are Tamane Shinono and Shifuya. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the last name. The reason why they're super important is Tamane is the one who created the Infinite Stratos mech suits. The concept was really for space exploration, but it's heavily implied during a kind of conversation with her childhood best friend slash lifelong friend that she hacked all the major government's pretty much nuclear bomb warhead capabilities and launched them all at the same time, and then having her friend Shifuya in a mask rock with one of her great mech suits to take them all down. And she is the only person who's actually able to make the cores which power the suits, and because that she is the only person, she's the most wanted person in the world for that reason. Plus she kind of went into super hiding. Also, basically because of the fact that she hacked the computers, launched it all up to show off her thing, the world kind of got scared. This next part I'm reading straight written. Possessing technology and combat far superior than any other arms, the IS starting to disable the world, facing an overpowering weapon. The world nations enact the Alaska Treaty, stating that the ISs should never be used for military purposes. Pause right there. There's an evil group called the Phantom Task that kind of is using it for that purpose. And the existence of IS technology must be equally distributed between all nations, preventing one nation from gaining dominance over another one. True. Each nation has the start of the same thing, but each nation also makes their own style. That means the representative from Japan has a certain style. The representative of England, France, Germany, Russia, I think U.S., they each have their own personal suits with their own kind of unique quirks to them. And the big kicker to this whole show is only women can be pilots, therefore kind of making it so this is a world where women now dominate society over men. Makes more sense. If you have the only people who can pretty much pilot the biggest, baddest weapon, women, they are the one that makes sense. Now, fast forwarding ahead in time to our main character, Ichika. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name because no. Yeah, he is your main male protagonist. He is the one who the whole show is centered around. He was raised by his older sister Shifuya after their parents abandoned him. Shifuya was the strongest pilot in the world, but retired due to the fact that her brother got kidnapped, and made a deal with like a group saying like, all right, cool, I'll teach your guys the things. But then she went on to be a teacher at the IS Academy. But back to Ichika. Ichika went to kind of an event to see what kind of school it was. Got lost and ran into an IS suit. And when he touched it, the suit kind of came to life, showing that, hey, he is the only guy in the world who can operate a mech suit, the Infinite Stratos suit, which forces him to go to IS Academy, where he will run into all the females, which is actually plays dumb. Yeah, he actually is kind of stated in later in the light novel that he knows all the girls are in love with him, but he feels like the girl, it would kind of like disrupt the balance and make all the other girls really pissed off if he chose one over the other. It's also been hinted that he would pick his childhood best friend, who is one of the main characters. But yeah, so he's very kind-hearted. He would go out of the way to make sure like people are safe and whatnot. The next main character is Hoki Shinono, who is, like I said, childhood best friends of Ichika, due to the fact that their homes were relatively close to each other, and each of their respective older sisters are best friends. So it's kind of like, hey, our sisters are super best friends. We're pretty much neighbors. We're childhood friends. She is in love with him. She's your kind of tomboy who keeps saying stuff that Ichika misunderstands to that, and she ends up getting her own mech suit very far along, being one of, I think, 2 people who aren't a representative of the country to get a mech suit. I want to be Ichika. But again, when your sister is the one who created the suit, you're auto and get one. Next main is Cecilia at Alcott, who is the IS Canada representative of England. And side note, one thing about this show, all the girls' accents from other countries are pretty much spot on. So she has like a British accent. But yeah, she's one of those like super wealthy elite type people who kind of look down on men because they cannot be pilots, and really doesn't like Ichika at first. But then when they fight, and then she realizes, oh, he's actually a lot stronger than I thought. She falls from him and tries to chase him around. Next up, you have Lynn, who is another childhood friend who pops up. I'm going in order which they pop up in the show. Childhood friend who's in love with him. We're best friends through the junior high years and having to crush them. She is the representative of China. Of course, there is a hilarious thing between her and Hoki. Both girls' families owned restaurants. Japanese and Chinese. Both are childhood friends of Ichika's, but they never really ran into each other because one was like elementary school, the other one was junior high. So there is a great contrast. Also, Lynn is kind of, and Hoki's not. So there is that contrast too. Like they're like yin and yang. Next up, you have Charlotte, the representative of France, who originally in this series went by Charles, being the second male pilot in the world. That way she can kind of become his roommate, spy him to flip back to her father's company, who she doesn't get along with. But soon after, Ichika discovers that she is a girl, and she was kind of really distraught. And he's like, hey, no, while you're at the school, no government or company can actually hurt you. So you're good for at least 3 years. Until then, we can come up with a better plan. She comes back as Charlotte. Of course, because of that, she gets kind of kicked out of his room. And becomes close friends with the last transfer student, Laura Bodwick, who is the Canada representative of German, and she is very German, very strict military. She actually knows Shifuya from her years of helping Germany's Girls' Academy as part of her deal to help find her kidnapped brother. She doesn't understand why she would go back to train these weaklings. And after Ishika does, I think yeah, she pretty much falls in love with him because she wants to understand the bond between her hero and idol and her younger brother, and she does fall in love with him, which creates very funny things because she's the one who's super straightforward with their feelings. But yeah, so it's an anime that it's just, hey, here's the harem. It does all the tropes. I think there's a beach episode. He plays dumb the entire time. This series moves real smooth. It's a very great intro anime. I highly suggest you watch it because there's not much on TV right now besides wrestling. And Tour de France just started soon, which is something I do like to watch, but most of the stages happen while I'm at work. But that's it. That's all I have. I will see you weird people later.